Hey there, it's Wendy again from Worldwide Speak. This video is part 3 in a series on writing an essay in English for English language learners. This video specifically covers the body paragraph. Maybe you have to write an essay for school and you're not exactly sure of the structure of a body paragraph or even the types of words you should be using in a body paragraph. This video clears up any questions that you might have about writing a basic body paragraph in English. Keep watching. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to answer 3 questions that you might have about writing the body paragraph or paragraphs. Why do we write the body paragraph? What's its purpose or what's its job that it has to do in the essay? And what is the overall structure of a body paragraph? How do I write a body paragraph so that the reader has an easy time following what I'm trying to say? And lastly, how do we do this? When we write, we are going to use special words called transition words inside of the body paragraph so that the reader knows exactly what we're talking about and follows a logical sequence so that when they're reading, it's very easy for them to understand the exact point that you're trying to make. So think of the body paragraph or body paragraphs like a rectangle that looks like this one here in the slide. It looks like a box that can hold a lot of information. And that's how you need to think about your body paragraph. It's a box that's going to hold all of your reasons and your examples that explain to the reader why your topic is so important. These are the details that make your paper strong. These are super important for your paper. And that's why the body paragraph looks like a box that can hold a lot of wonderful information. Let's talk about the purpose of a body paragraph. What is the main purpose of the body paragraph, or what's its main job? What does it have to do inside the essay? Well, let's review the introduction paragraph that we talked about in part 2 of the essay overview. The job of the introduction paragraph was to slowly lead your reader towards your topic and then tell them exactly what you would be writing about and why. That was the job of the introduction paragraph. The job of the body paragraph is different. The job of the body paragraph is to provide the reader with super strong support for your topic. This support comes from the reasons and the examples that you give inside this paragraph. These are the details that paint a picture for the reader inside of their mind so they can clearly understand the point that you're trying to make in your writing. Okay, so we talked about the job of the body paragraph. Its job is to give the strong support for your topic. Now let's talk about the actual structure of the body paragraph. The body paragraph starts out with a topic sentence. It gives your first reason for why this topic is important, and then it gives a very specific example. It gives another reason, more support, with an example, and sometimes we even provide a third reason with an example. And it finishes up with a concluding sentence. Now, the topic sentence is the sentence that helps the reader focus on this specific paragraph. It's a way to give them directions about what you're going to be writing about inside this body paragraph. The reason gives support to your body paragraph. It's why it's important. And then the example is crucial because this gives very, very specific detail to support the reason and show the reader why this reason is so important. And it paints a picture inside of their mind so they can visualize what you are explaining. In the concluding sentence, this just restates the focus of the paragraph to remind the reader that we were talking about this one specific thing inside of this body paragraph. In an essay, the body paragraph comes immediately after the introduction paragraph. And if you remember from part 2, the introduction paragraph, our introduction paragraph looked like this. Why don't you read it with me? There are so many incredible cities to visit throughout the world. A lot of people prefer to visit cities in the United States since there is such a variety. Often visitors choose New York City as they have amazing theater performances. Others like to go to San Francisco for the natural beauty. Yet, the most amazing city that one must visit when traveling in the United States is Chicago because of its architecture, restaurants, and museums. So in this essay, our job is to convince the reader that Chicago is the best option to choose when visiting cities in the United States because of architecture, restaurants, and museums. So now, let's take a look at what we would write in order to have the body paragraph next. Let's review the structure of the body paragraph first before we begin to write one. We have the topic sentence, reason number 1, example number 1. Reason number 2, example number 2. And if you need one, reason number 3, example number 3, and a concluding sentence. So, remembering the introduction paragraph and talking about Chicago and it being the best place to visit, what would our topic sentence look like? We could write something like this. Visiting Chicago is a wonderful experience for many reasons, right? We've got reason number 1, reason number 2, and reason number 3 that support to give the reader, to convince them to go to Chicago. So what was our first reason? Do you remember? It was about the architecture. We could write something like this. First, it has numerous outstanding architectural buildings built by famous architects. Then, how would we give a detail about this reason to paint a picture in the mind of the reader? We might choose to write something like this. For example, in Millennium Park along the lakefront, the outdoor bandshell was designed by world-renowned architect Frank Gehry. Its curving stainless steel headdress looms over the park at 120 feet high and looks more like a sculpture than a building. That paints a picture inside the mind of the reader. And you did that with words. It's very, very specific. And those details are what make your body paragraph super strong. And then what about that concluding sentence? We want to remind the reader of our focus and just kind of restating the topic sentence. We could choose to write something like this. With all of these things to see and do, the Windy City is a fantastic travel destination. And in case you didn't know, the nickname for Chicago is the Windy City. It was nice to use its nickname instead of repeating the word Chicago over and over and over. So in the last slide, I just gave one reason and one example. And I wanted to show you what a complete body paragraph would look like when you gave all 3 reasons and all 3 examples. Again, why don't you read this with me? Visiting Chicago is a wonderful experience for many reasons. First, it has numerous outstanding architectural buildings built by famous architects. For example, in Millennium Park along the lakefront, the outdoor bandshell was designed by world-renowned architect Frank Gehry. Its curving stainless steel headdress looms over the park at 120 feet high and looks more like a sculpture than a building. Second, when it comes to restaurants, Chicago has a wide variety. Yet, if one truly wants to know the city, then find some delicious, deep dish Chicago-style pizza at Lou Malnati's. Specifically, this restaurant's famous pizza is loved for its uniquely indulgent inverted layers of cheese, meat, and tomato sauce on a crispy, flaky crust. Last, the city is filled with great museums. For instance, the Field Museum of Natural History is one of the largest of its kind in the world and attracts over 2 million visitors a year with exhibits such as the Underground Adventure Insect World and Sue, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Having all these things in one place makes the Windy City a fantastic travel destination. Something that's really important to remember about the body paragraph is that you need to stay focused. If you tell the reader that you're going to talk about architecture, restaurants, and museums, then that's the only thing that you can talk about in this paragraph. You can't write about really great parks or incredible hotels because it's not part of your focus. Your focus in this paragraph was only architecture, restaurants, and museums. You have to really remember the body paragraph, remember, is a box about one specific thing. And in that topic sentence, you tell the reader exactly what you're going to talk about. So remember, stay focused in your body paragraph. Now, within that body paragraph, we use specific words so that the reader can follow along easily. These are called transition words. And when we have reasons, some of the transition words that we use, these aren't all of them, these are just a few examples, but we use first. The first reason is that. Second, secondly. The second reason is that. Third, last. Finally, the last reason is that. And then when we have examples, we can use transition words like this. For example, for instance, specifically, particularly. And I'd like you to also pay close attention to the punctuation after these words. When it's first or second, secondly, third, last, finally, for the reasons, you have a comma. It's really important that you remember the comma. The only ones that don't have a comma is when we begin the sentence, the first reason is that, or the second reason is that, or the last reason is that. We do the same thing in the examples. After all of these transition words, we have a comma. You need to remember the comma in order for it to be correct. These words are very important in your writing. They signal to the reader the order and logical sequence of your writing, and it helps the reader follow along very easily. And they also help you organize your writing so that you can write clearly and effectively. So let's look at the transition words in our example body paragraph. If we highlight these, you can see the order they're in. First, second, last. Those words help the reader follow along easily. The words are like directions for the reader. First, I'm going to tell you about this. Second, I'm going to tell you about something else. Last, I'm going to give you an additional reason. And then we also use transition words for our examples to give our details. And it explains to the reader, hey, I'm going to give you a really specific detail that you're going to be able to think about in your mind while you're reading my essay. We use for example, specifically, and for instance, in this example, body paragraph. And those three transition words tell the reader, hold on, stop, let me paint a picture of this in your mind with words. As you can see, when we highlight these transition words in the body paragraph, they're crucial for the order and sequence of your writing. The reader needs them and you need them. I thought this picture might help you. It's one I took a while ago when I was teaching in the classroom. Hopefully you can read my handwriting, but feel free to pause the video and look at what I wrote up on the board. It has the introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion paragraphs. This was for a descriptive essay, but I also show the structure and then exactly the transitions that you need within your body paragraph. All right, let's review. What was the purpose of the body paragraph? What was its job? Its job was to provide strong support, and we did this with reasons and examples which gave the details to paint a picture in the mind of the reader. What was the structure of the body paragraph? Do you remember? We started with the topic sentence, and then we gave reasons and examples to support the topic sentence and the overall topic of the essay. And we finished with a concluding sentence. And remember, we used the topic sentence to help the reader focus. And then we have the reason to give support. And then we have examples that paint a picture in the mind of the reader of the reasons that you gave. And we finish up with the concluding sentence that just helps the reader refocus on the topic of that paragraph. And last, we talked about transition words. We had transition words for reasons, and we had transition words for examples. These are just a few of the transition words that you can use when you get started in writing. Please pay close attention to the punctuation when you use some of these transition words. For the most part, we have a comma after the transition word. These words are very important to your writing. They are the signals that keep the reader focused, and they also help you organize your writing in a logical and sequential and thoughtful way, which makes your body paragraph much stronger and very easy to read. Now remember, this is just a basic overview of why we write it, what the structure is, and how we use transition words. Your body paragraph might look different depending on the type of essay you're writing, but this is a great foundation for you, the English language learner, so that you can start your writing in a clear, logical, and thoughtful manner. Thank you for watching, and make sure not to miss the next video on the conclusion paragraph. Take care.